Hey, what's going on, everybody? For today's video, I thought we could sit down in the shop and just kind of have like a one-on-one session here. I thought for a good idea would be to start off with a first-time gun buyer. So, typically, people that come into the shop, a lot of them, a lot of them know what they're after or sort of what they're looking for. But there's a lot of people that come in and this is their very first time ever even touching a gun. So I like to try to show a good smorgasbord, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Just a nice variety here. And I'll kind of just treat you like I would any other customer because this does come up quite a bit with just sort of everything. So I'm going to start with one that's uh, obvious to me, and I'll explain why in a sec. It is the Sig Sauer P365. Now this one you've seen on my channel before because it's my personal one, and the reason I'm showing you my personal one is because I'm completely sold out here at the shop, if that kind of says anything about just the 365 in general. I had to bring mine from the house because I have none left in the shop. So this one's a little fancier, but typically they're just all black. It's a 10 rounds of 9mm. Comes with night sights already. It's just overall a really good. I have smaller hands, but if you do have bigger hands, they make 12-round aftermarket mags for them. They kind of stick out, a little longer. But just for me, this is like one of the go-to guns that I carry. It is just very concealable, very reliable. And the awesome thing with the 365 platform in general is if you're saying, hey, it's a great gun, I like it, but again, it's not big enough for me. Well, then you're in luck because they make several iterations of this. This one is the 365 XL, which has a 12-round flush fit mag, so a little bit more capacity and a longer slide. Again, they actually make another model called the X, which is just this gun just minus this little piece up front here. So the barrel stops where this frame goes. Why am I not showing you that gun? Because I'm also out of that as well. Just again to show you just a very popular gun right now. Like I said, I even personally carry them. And then if you're saying, well, that's not big enough for me, then they make this guy, the 365 Macro. So this is 17 rounds, but it's a really thin package. If you notice, a lot of guns, when you get into like this territory, they get to be pretty thick and pretty full size, where this one is still very concealable. It's like I said, if you're looking for a more, heck, you could probably get away with this one, depending on where you carry it, but this one is just a very popular choice. I was going to say, like, most full-size guns are good to conceal carry in, like, the wintertime, but this right here, depending on if you have a gun like me or anything, you could probably carry this in the summer and get away with it. It's, like I said, for 17 rounds, it's a pretty darn good choice. They're all optics ready, so you can just take this plate right off. I don't know how loud that truck was. You could just take this plate right off here and put an optic on it. They have the night sights. It's just like I said, the 365s in general are just a really good choice, and they're sort of a size for whatever you're after. So just overall, that's normally what I show people for the first timers. Now, in no particular order here, I guess I'll start off way down here. So another super popular one that I'm out of stock on is the Glock 43X, and this is the Shadow Systems CR920. And I'm showing them, or talking about the other one, because they're basically the same size and everything. The CR920 and the Shadow Systems in general, their whole gimmick is rather than buy a 43X for $500, this one's $620. So by the time you buy the Glock, you pay $100 for an aftermarket barrel. It's got much better slide serrations on it and stippling on the grip. By the time you do all this to your Glock, it's got a really nice flat-facing trigger, you'll be way over the $620 mark. So Shadow Systems said, look, we're going to create basically Glock clones that are a lot fancier. And these are another one that seem to be doing very, very well. This one's 13 rounds out of a pretty compact package. And just overall, very nice guns. The Glock 43X, again, is about this size, but you get the Glock reliability out of it. So again, very, very popular choice. Again, in no particular order here. What I typically tell people is, when I'm showing them, like sort of just a random selection, is what feels good in their hands. And obviously we can't do that here, but what I'll do is I'll put like the 365s in their hand. And let's say they don't like it. Let's say they give me feedback and I can kind of guide them in whatever direction they want. You notice there's a lot of holes over here. Had a very busy weekend last week, so there's typically some more guns I probably would be showing you, but kind of a little low at the moment. But so, like I said, when you're showing me, so if I put a 365 in your hand and you're saying, you know what, I like the length of the grip, but I want it to be thicker. Well, then I can show you some other options, and we kind of go from there. What I tell people is almost all of these guns, I don't really carry like junk, no high points or anything. So almost all these guns you should have no problems with. It really just boils down to what feels good in your hand, can you rack it. Some people have really bad arthritis or just weak hands. Can you manipulate the gun good, and that sort of thing. And that's sort of the fun of, I enjoy doing that when it's like a Tuesday and no one's in here, and I have the time to kind of go through and show everybody in more depth than one-on-one like this. And that typically, I like to do that, and the customer usually finds whatever they're looking for that way. So again, in no particular order here, we'll pick back up with the Taurus GX4. Now, some of you may, when I show people this gun, it seems to be a little controversial. So I personally own one, and I've never had any issues with it. Typically the controversy comes when you go back 10, 15 years ago. Taurus was kind of a crappy company. The revolvers and whatnot would have a lot of issues. They had like the G2Cs out, which just big, clunky, crappy guns. And most people who bought a Taurus back then had issues with it and just didn't like it. So now, even to this day, when I show them the Taurus, they're like, no, Taurus is crap. So what I tell people is the new iteration that they came out with, the GX4 line, is actually very good. This one here is $330. It's sort of a budget gun, but like I said, I've had no issues with mine. They seem to be very reliable and just overall very good guns. This one here holds 11 rounds. It's a pretty darn compact size. 11 rounds of 9mm, and it's just, again, it's nothing fancy. There's nothing crazy fancy here, but for $330, it's kind of a no-brainer. Like I said, you won't have any issues. And the same thing, I don't know if you might be able to see him over there. I have the same thing. They have an XL model, which is a little longer, and that one holds 13 rounds. And then they have the GX4 Carry, which is 15 rounds and a little bit bigger than that. So same thing. If you're trying to keep it like $300-$400, it's honestly a pretty darn good choice. Another popular one right now that I sell a lot of is the FN Reflex. This bad boy, I think it's 11 rounds, or it might be 12. 12 rounds of 9mm. They're optics ready already. Optics ready already. Say that 3 times fast. But the neat thing with this is, I won't get too in depth if you're unfamiliar. Typically your 2 types of handguns are hammer fired or striker fired. So like your Glocks, there's an internal striker going off that sends the firing pin forward to set the round off. And a lot of you'll typically see it on 1911s, there's a hammer on it, and the hammer goes forward to set the firing pin off. So those are really your 2 types. Now this one's nifty, because when you look at it, you would think it's striker fired, but it actually has a big internal hammer. Why they designed it that way, I don't know, but I'm being told by a lot of people that that's actually pretty pleasant to shoot. So rather than have a big ugly hammer sticking off the back of it, it has a built-in internal hammer. So when you go to cock this back, there's a lot of dead space in here where the hammer freely moves. But same thing, another nice, just you gotta get it in your hand. But it does come with a bigger 15 round mag if you want a little extra for your pinky. But you'll notice that a lot is, for a lot of people, especially with bigger hands, this pinky becomes a big issue of, is my hand gonna fit? So a lot of people, they tend to do this because their hands are bigger. So it's a fine balance between, you want a small concealable size, but you also want to be able to hold the gun. Another one, I'm going to mix it up a little bit here on you. I keep looking back. I'm off today, so I don't want any customers to see my car and be like, oh, maybe he's in. And I don't want anyone to think I'm open for business right now. Another popular one, I want to show you one of the models. This is the Smith & Wesson Airweight. So it is a really, really light and compact revolver. Now, again, there's pros and cons to every gun, but when you get into revolvers, you only have 5 shots. So this is a very light, very concealable gun, shooting .38 Special. So not a whole lot of kick or anything, but you only have 5 shots. And it used to be, when you went back 20 years ago, it used to be, all the rage was, how big of a bullet can I cram in a small gun? So a lot of people you talk to, especially the old heads, they like to think that, hey, 5 shots of 45 ACP, if I can't do it in that, then, so be it. But right now the craze is, how many rounds can we cram in a small gun? So I'm more of me personally, I'm more of a carry what you're comfortable with. I've had people tell me, oh yeah, it's my first ever gun purchase, and they recommended a Glock 17 to me, like one of their friends, and it's just, and then when you put a Glock 17 in their hand, they're struggling to rack it. So it really boils down to, again, what feels good in your hands, what can you manipulate. And I tell people all the time, look, if you talk to any gun guy out there, they'll say 22 is horrible for carry. But again, I say carry what you're comfortable with. I've heard stories where people get shot with 22s and it doesn't even affect them. But so I understand that, but at the same time, if you're comfortable carrying, the Walther PP, what is it, the PQ-22 over there, if that's what you're comfortable with, that's what you can manipulate. Something's better than nothing. And the problem is, a lot of the times, people that are really heavy into guns and they know everything about guns, they're going to say, oh, well, why in the world would they sell you this? It's a crappy little 22. And then when you actually get down into it, and they, I sold them that because wholly not, like, they couldn't even rack the 9mm or anything. Something's better than nothing at the end of the day. Yes, I'm a firm believer that you need as many rounds as you can. I've seen people, high as a kite on like meth, take 15 rounds before and it didn't affect them. So it's just, a lot of it is, again, what you're comfortable carrying. There's no sense. Is a Glock 19 a great gun? Yes. If you can't use it, then it's not good for you. If you pull it out of your purse to defend yourself and you have a jam and you can't clear that jam because your hand's so weak, then it's not a good fit for you. So that's sort of a little ramble there, but again, like a revolver it's not a bad option for someone who otherwise, and again, if you can't manipulate, if you cannot rack a slide at all, no matter what model I show you, then how about we go with an option that you don't rack a slide at all? This is a very simple gun. You just pull the trigger. That's it. There's nothing else here. So that's my little ramble there, but I get it all the time where, like a grandma will come in with her son, and they'll be like, "Oh, you need the 365," and I love the 365 myself, but I've seen it plenty of times before, where they will put it in their hand and they will do this. The slide will not move. Their hand strength is so weak that they can't get this slide to move at all. So, like, I appreciate the son in this case, or the grandson will be like, oh yeah, you need a SIG or a Glock or whatever. But again, if they can't do anything with the gun, it's kind of worthless. So ultimately, if it truly is your first purchase, just what feels good in your hands, and then make sure you can rack the slide, make sure you can hit all the buttons, and just make sure you can manipulate the gun fine. Another popular choice here, the M&P Shield Plus. I think this one's 13 rounds with the extension, so pretty good capacity. Same thing, pretty good concealable size here. And just, again, it's sort of one of those, it's only, $420, but it's just another good, cheaper choice. Got good ammo capacity, and it's actually got a really nice flat-facing trigger on it too. But like I said, it's one of those, for the money, it's pretty tough to beat. Another one I'll show you here. Canik has been super popular recently. And this is the Canik MC9, and it comes with I think this one is 12 rounds, 11 or 12 round magazine, and it comes with an extended 15 round magazine. Now what's so popular about these are, I charge $440 for these. They're already optics cut. They got a rail on the bottom if you want to throw a flashlight. It's got an okay trigger. But the box that it comes in. So this comes already with the 2 magazines. It comes with extra back straps. Comes with, of course the computer had to go off. It comes with a holster already. It just it comes with like little cleaning supplies. It comes with a little mini toy gun that actually acts as a screwdriver slash Allen key. So if you need to adjust your optics or anything on the range, it comes with it. So it's one of those, for 440 bucks, you get a ton of stuff with this thing. So this is one of those, if it's your first gun, you get a lot of starter stuff. So honestly, again, they're very, very popular choice. And then lastly, I'll show you the Glock 19. And again, I'm showing you my personal one because I'm sold out at the moment. Same thing, it's just a very overall good full-size entry-level gun. It's great. Comes with a flush fit 15 round mag. But the nice thing with the Glocks are there's so much you can do to them. Now, sometimes that's a bad thing because you'll get too crazy with things, but like I put a +2 magazine on here, so this now holds 17 rounds. Got a little flashlight on the bottom, and you can really get as crazy as you want. But I like to throw accessories on without being too tacky, kind of thing. But the Glock 19 is a great sort of full-size gun without being too huge. The nice thing with a bigger gun like this, maybe for home defense, is the bigger the gun, the less recoil on your hand, and the longer the barrel, the more accuracy you're going to have. So if you're not worried about concealing it, this is sort of a bedside gun. Pretty darn good choice. So, and again, I think they're like 540 bucks or something like that. So, great choice there. All right. So I think that's where I will leave it for today. Like I said, just a great spread overall. Just ultimately what feels good in your hand. And if you have a reputable shop near you, they should show you plenty of options, and just make sure you come down to the right, what feels good, what can you manipulate, and obviously at a price point that doesn't hurt the bank. So that'll be it for today's video. If there's any other video ideas you want to do while I'm in the store, let me know, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.